Welcome to one more Chiro Speaking Podcast. This is Roberto Monaco with my brother, Dr. Dane Donohue. What's up, buddy?
How you doing, Roberto? Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. I was just talking, Dr. Dane and I, when you connect online today, we had the same joke. And he said first, I have been talking to you more than I talked to my wife. I was going to say that, but he said first. I'm like, man, damn it, Yeah, so today we're going to have a lot of fun. Dr. Dane is one of my dear friend, mentor, and inspiration to me. The vast majority of chiropractors across the globe know who he is, but I want to give a very quick introduction. Then I want to give some background of working with him. Dr. Dane has been practicing for 30 years. He doesn't look like, because he looks like 30,
I don't know about that, Roberto.
He's a third-generation chiropractor. He's the founder of 8 Week to Wellness, which is an amazing program. He's married with Jill, which is amazing. Has 2 beautiful sons. He practices in Pennsylvania. And there's two links below here for his practice, also for his other business, 8 Week to Wellness, where he helps doctors. You can learn more about his work. But let me tell you, my experience working with Dr. Dane, I remember, I think maybe 6-7 years ago, he invited me to speak in Philadelphia. We connected. And then being friends since, we had the chance to, I don't know if you remember this, Dr. Dane, an amazing event we did for the AWW docs. We had so much fun. And then years later, he goes, "Hey, Roberto, you want to speak in England?" I'm like, man, that's my dream. Because when I left Brazil, I went to England to learn English. And going back to England for me to do a 4-hour talk in English was a big deal. And thanks, Dr. Dane, we went to Epsom, was an amazing seminar. I did a 4-hour presentation But let me tell you one of my favorite things about Dr. Dane. And he's gonna drop a special quote he always mentioned, but the word congruency for me is everything. Like in my business, my life, I just talk about the things that I do, that I try to master, and to try to be congruent. So if I tell my clients to speak, I speak. If I tell my clients to record videos, guess what? I'm recording videos. And Dr. Dane is the embodiment of congruency. I remember I went to an event, I didn't know he was speaking, and there was like 4 a.m. And then I have this picture, buddy. I don't know if you remember the moment, but it was like, it was a chiropractic event, probably thousands of chiropractors, 4 a.m. And I'm going to the gym, one guy working out at 4 a.m., Dr. Dane. So the embodiment of congruency. So brother, it's a pleasure to have you here.
Well, I think about how selective I am about the people I let in my inner circle, Roberto. And I remember when you came, and I think it's actually more like 8 or 9 years ago when you first spoke at our event. And everywhere I go, the organizers of events are always asking me, who do you know who's a good speaker? And you're always at the top of my list, because I feel the same way. I want to be around people that elevate my game, that really elevate my paradigm of how I want to live my life, and are going to rub off on me. And, that's why I also consider you not only a friend, but a mentor and coach, because you've taught me so much over my career that has made me a better chiropractor, because it really comes down to communication. Well, I'm sure we're going to talk about this.
I appreciate that. So today, guys, we're going to talk about, Dr. Dane is going to talk about his experience going through the last 18 months. He's going to talk about how to thrive right now with your practice and in the future. But before we get into it, Dr. Dane, I always start this question: what's the story behind you becoming a chiropractor? What caused you to do what you do today? I was interested in learning more about the background.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's pretty simple. I grew up in a chiropractic family. My dad, my grandfather's 2 brothers. I have 2 uncles. I have multiple cousins. I have a twin sister. And now I have a son who's getting ready to start life in about a month, who'll be a 4th-generation chiropractor. So again, for me, I think the big thing, Roberto, is we had a home office combination. So I got to see a lot of patients who were coming into my dad's office, who were hobbling in, who were being wheeled in. And I always specifically remember this one story. I was about 14 or 15, and there was a guy who had a problem. He was walking into the office. I was walking out of the office. He called me over. He said, "Are you Dr. Marty's son?" And I said, "Yeah." And he handed me a $100 bill, and he said, "Please give this to your father when you see him, and tell him he doesn't charge enough for what he does, because he's really helped me out a lot." Wow. And at the time, Roberto, my dad's adjustments were like $13. And we always had a family dinner at 5 a.m. You had to be at the dinner table at 5 a.m. And I remember going to the dinner table with that $100, giving it to my dad. And I always thought, hey, my dad's going to give me like a little bit of a commission here for $100. You know, I take it up to 7-Eleven, get some candy. But I think ultimately he gave it back to the man. But I always remember that in my head. Whatever my dad did, that man's perception was my dad didn't charge enough for what he did.
I love that. That's powerful. That's powerful. So let's get into the conversation about thriving practice. Obviously, since the pandemic hit since March last year, whatever we want to call pandemic, whatever you want to call the situation, how that has impacted your practice?
I think from not only myself, Roberto, but a lot of the chiropractors that are friends of mine that I also coach, it's been a huge opportunity. I think anytime you have awareness for people, that gets heightened. And so, what are people thinking about? They're scared. And when people are in fear, they look for knowledge. They look for answers, right? And right now people are wondering, hey, am I going to get this COVID? Am I going to survive it? And so when people are in that state, they look for answers. And I think that's really where the opportunity lies. And I think people are reading enough to know that, hey, listen, if I keep my own body healthy, God forbid I even get COVID, I'll fare a lot better. So I think people are looking to answers to questions like, how do I keep my immune system strong? How do I keep my body strong, right? And so, I'm finishing up I will have finished my 30th year of practice this year. And I've never seen our practice busier. I've never seen more new patients. We're doing, other than outside talks, virtual talks, we're really not doing anything in terms of marketing. And we've been super, super busy. Our biggest problem right now, Roberto, is getting, our team and getting new staff members, because that's just, we've been growing so much. As we run a wellness center. So, we have chiropractors, we have personal trainers, we have massage therapists, so it's been hard getting team members that kind of fit congruently within our team.
What a problem to have too many patients. I remember when I saw you speak a couple months ago online. Dr. Dane did this amazing virtual presentation, and I jumped in. I had a chance to watch, and then he enrolled several new patients. Remember, we talked after. He goes, "My wife is gonna kill me." She said, "What are you gonna do? Are you gonna put all these new patients?" I'm like, "Oh, that's a good problem to have."
Yeah, she keeps coming to me. She said, "We need to open up more hours." And one of my values, Roberto, as you know, I'm married for 27 years. I have a great relationship with my kids, my friends. I have a boat I keep down on the Chesapeake. We get down there all the time. And I really want balance in my life. She said, we need to open up more hours for new patients. And I'm like, it's not going to happen. It's like, we're going to have to, we hired a new associate, and that's been great to take on new patients. But, for me, it's like, if you go to a busy restaurant, Roberto, you're going to make reservations ahead of time because you want that experience. So you're going to call ahead of time. And that's what new patients will do. If they want to see you, they're going to see you even if they have to wait.
I love that. So let's talk about, by the way, your story of like, man, I barely can handle more patients is not the story for most chiropractors, right? A lot of chiropractors struggle. So what do you recommend someone who maybe is not struggling, but they're like in a plateau, they hit a plateau? What are some keys, if you can give us, I don't know, maybe 3 ideas, a big picture, what they should focus on to thrive moving now and moving forward in the future?
Well, the first thing, Roberto, I'll share, one of the things, and I did it this morning. I haven't missed a week since the pandemic began. When the pandemic began, I remember vividly, I knew that there was going to be a state of panic, and I wanted to keep my patients informed. I wanted to keep them safe. I wanted to let them know what they could do. There was this, we really didn't know, are we going to be able to keep our practice open, which we were able to, thank God. But there was a lot of people that weren't coming in because they were in such a state of fear. And I wanted to be able to reach out to those patients. And I started blogging. And every single week, if you go to my Facebook, I post it every week.
Every Wednesday,
Yeah, every Wednesday. It goes out as a blog on my website. It goes out as an e-blast. I post it to my face, anywhere I can get that information. And I'll tell you, it's done a couple things. Number one, it's kept me reading. It's kept me, because every week I know I want to have a topic, and I don't want to just copy some other person's stuff. I actually write my own stuff based on my reading and my research. And there's always something that comes up in the week. So for example, last week, I had a patient, Roberto, asked me who my family doctor was. And I was a little embarrassed because I don't have one, right? Because I don't get sick, right? So we had to have this conversation. I'm like, you know what? That's a great topic for a blog. Why don't I have a family doctor? It's not that I wouldn't have one if I didn't believe I needed one. I just don't think I need one, So I turned that into a blog that I posted today. And that's been huge. Roberto, I had a patient a couple months ago. He's the head coach of probably one of the best lacrosse programs in the country and the high school is a Catholic school in our area. And he comes in every 2 weeks like clockwork, gets his adjustment. And Bill said to me, he said, I loved your blog this week. He said, I read them all. He said, this one was so good. I took the email and I forwarded it to all of the faculty at our high school. And I thought to myself, wow, that's powerful. I didn't ask him to do that. It was just the information resonated. He wanted to share that information. And we got a couple new patients from him forwarding that email. So I think for me, the thing, and I've learned so much from you about this, is how do you get your message out there to the people that need it the most without selling? I don't sell in these emails and these blogs. I want to get content out. I want the content to be king. And I also want the content to be relative to what people are concerned about. Now, do I get blowback? Yeah. Do I get people that don't agree with me? Absolutely. Okay. But that's what happens when you put yourself out there.
What I love about is this content marketing strategy, which I'm a big advocate. And I just want to acknowledge, buddy, because a lot of chiropractors, vast majority, they don't do that. And I think that just on this point alone, number one, consistency. I have been doing since forever, 16, 18 months. Number two, originality. That means like you take the time to study, and because like it's a journey, right? I still study in communication, public speaking, influence, because there's always a next level. And number three, you put in your own voice, right? You go and you research, look at experiences, you get ideas from your patients, and you filter through your experiences, and you communicate. I always tell clients that if health is an inside-out game, then communication, effective communication, is a inside-out game too. Obviously, you're going to do research. Obviously, you're going to learn from the people. But in the end of the day, the way you process, the way you see your beliefs, your lenses, your experiences, the communication is an inside-out game. So I love that. I love it.
And let me just say one thing. Can I just say one thing about that, Roberto? The most important thing is that you schedule it. There's times I get up every Wednesday at 5 a.m. and I write my blog. There's been times when I'm like, oh, man, I wish I didn't have to write the blog. But I'm committed to it, and I haven't missed a week, So because it's scheduled, it gets done. And again, the things that matter most should never be at the mercy of things that matter least. So whatever it is in your life, and this has become really important, now it's become even more important because I see how many new patients and the impact that it's had. But when something's important, you schedule it and you commit to it. And when that feeling comes up inside, it's like, I don't want to do this. I think it's something better to do. You need to push that down and really push forward and do it.
I love that. So strategy number one, communicate to your community, write a blog, record a video. I love that. What else have you done? I think the second thing, Roberto, and this is something that I've always done, is, I always tell you my motto is physiology doesn't lie. And I honestly believe in my heart, Roberto, that chiropractic made so many changes physiologically in patients, especially as I practice not only chiropractic where I adjust subluxation, adjust my patient's spine, but I also adjust their lifestyle. And I believe when you put the power of chiropractic care along with the power of a chiropractic lifestyle, getting people to eat better, move better, think better, right? Manage stress. I believe that, their physiology is going to change for the better. And so we do, as we do a wellness score. We do a lot of lab work on our patients. We x-ray our patients. We do a lot of physiological things where we show a patient and we literally give them a grade. With the wellness score, we give people, I had a new patient in Monday afternoon, and he got a D- on his wellness score, 61. And if you looked at him, he looks like a relatively healthy individual. But when you really open the hood and look deep down, there was a lot of things that he wasn't doing well. And when he saw that score, he said, wow, D-. I would have never thought my health was that bad. And, I didn't say anything because it is what it is, and either he's going to change it or he's not. And I'm going to give him the tools to help get his wellness score up to a B or an A. Now, I know when people are at a B or an A, I know their body's in a state where it's vibrating at a high level. They're less likely not only to get COVID, but all the chronic diseases, heart disease, cancer, diabetes, neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. All these diseases come from aberrant physiology. So I would tell the doctor, if you can measure physiology, if you can reflect back to the patient, and I think at some level, Roberto, it's held me accountable that if I'm going to look at lab work, I need to know how to change it. If I'm going to look at somebody's x-rays and show them that they have a decreased curve in their neck,
I need to be able to show them they can get that curve back into the neck. So at some level, it's held me accountable to getting the physiological changes. Now, let me tell you something. When people are functioning and vibrating physiologically, I'm not talking symptomatically. I think we do a great job as chiropractors helping people symptomatically. Yep. But we all know that people can be asymptomatic and be extremely unhealthy, right? Yep. So when they're functioning better, their physiology is better, their quality of life is better. They can get back to doing the things that they want to do. And there's so many times, Roberto, in a new patient consult where I ask them, what are the things that you'd like to be able to do that you can't do right now? And people tell me, I want to get back to exercise. I can't golf, I can't garden, I can't pick up my grandkids. And people want to enjoy a quality of life. And if you help them get back to doing the things that we take for granted as chiropractors, we take these things for granted that we can pick up our kids and our grandkids and work all day in the office and not have any problems. But these people are suffering. And when you help them have a quality of life where they can not only live, 70, 80, 90 years, but enjoy a quality of life during those 70, 80, 90 years, they will not only, come to you without you having to nag them and recall them all the time, but they're going to send their family and friends, and they're going to become what I call sticky because they know where they got healthy. So I think the second thing, Roberto, is you have to really evaluate, am I getting results with my patients, and how am I communicating and how am I measuring and reflecting back to the patients that they're not only getting better symptomatically, they're getting better functionally. Because when they get out of pain, if that's the objective, hey, I want to get out of my neck pain, my low back pain. Once the pain goes away, the patient thinks I've accomplished what I've come to accomplish. But if their goal is to, hey, I want to get back to vibrating at a high level. I want to get back to playing golf. I want to get back to be able to pick up a suitcase without pulling my back out. I want to just enjoy my life, have energy, sleep better. That becomes the goal, and people will stick around a lot longer.
How do you follow up after your day 1, day 2, they start the care? How often do you have these conversations to do a checkup to see how they're doing? How often?
So I'm a little bit different than most chiropractors. Most chiropractors do a re-exam or reevaluation every 12 visits. I do mine at 3-month intervals. Okay. We do 8 weeks to wellness, but a lot of times we're doing a month prior, Roberto, because people are in pain. We need to get their lab work done. We need to get them prepared to do 8 weeks to wellness. A lot of times they can't even get in the gym. They're hurting. So we do 3-month care plans. So I generally will do my first reevaluation, and then we redo all their testing. We redo their wellness score. We redo all their body comp. Sometimes we take new x-rays at 3 months. Most of the time it's 6 months. So we redo all that at 3 months. And like I tell them, I'm like, listen, it's taking you years, if not decades, to ruin your health. If you're not willing to give me 12 weeks and 3 months to get your health back to where it needs to be, my name's Dr. Dane. It's not Jesus. So I'm just not that good.
I heard that line before. That's powerful. Man, that's such a powerful conversation. I'm sure a lot of doctors, by the way, I've seen Dr. Dane speak about this subject so many times. I had the pleasure to work with him and the team, and I've seen the internally. So if you have questions, because a lot of docs go, okay, how do I do that? How do I measure physiology? How do I go from a step 1 to step 2, then reach out to Dr. Dane, because he has the systems ready to help. So it's awesome. So what's the third thing? What's the third strategy?
I think the third strategy for me, Roberto, is surrounding myself with a team that inspires me. So again, people like yourself, I have good friends, Justin Nye, Brian Hester. They're my mentors as well. Brian and Justin.
Oh, amazing. I love both of those guys.
Amazing practices. I mean, their heart is in the right place. They're just wonderful, wonderful human beings and chiropractors. But also my team, I have, about 3 years ago, Roberto, I had a team where I literally was questioning, like, gosh, I don't think I can achieve my mission of what I want to accomplish with this team. It's not that they weren't good people. It's just that their mission was more important than my mission. Okay. Their agenda was more important than my agenda. And I have a whole new team now. And I really, and I have to give a shout out to my wife, who's been a huge blessing to help me with this. Yep. Is really attracted people who want to be there for the right reasons. They truly want to help people. They're on a mission. So we have, 2 amazing trainers. We have 2 amazing massage therapists. I have an amazing associate chiropractor. I have multiple people at the front desk, but we're a team and we function as a team. And I'm always looking for new team members that, want to be a part of our mission and want to do it for the right reason. So I think the third thing for me is really putting time, effort, love, energy into my team, both from the hiring standpoint, looking for good team members, and then the training standpoint is making sure that I'm connecting with them on a regular basis, making sure that they feel like I do. Like I really appreciate who they are and what they do for the practice. And then also, if there's something that needs to change, that we're sitting down with them on a regular basis, training them that, listen, this is the way that it needs to be done. For example, the new associate, she was overwhelmed because we just do things different. We look at lab work, we do digital x-rays, we do a wellness score, we ask certain questions that maybe other chiropractors aren't asking. And so she's been in practice as long as I have. She had to learn a whole new system. So I had to kind of walk her through that process and make sure that she was comfortable with it. So I think the third thing, Roberto, is just always, always, always looking for, inspiring, motivating, communicating with your team.
I love
and that's both the team in the office and your own personal team of who those people are in your life that are going to inspire and motivate. I learned so much from so many of the people like yourself. And the thing is, I not only learn from you, I don't learn just by what comes out of your mouth. I learn most by the way you live your life. And people don't even realize I'm always watching their behavior. And when I see good outcomes, I'm like, all right, that person's getting a really good outcome, whether it's in their practice or their marriage or with their children. What are they doing that maybe I'm not doing that I would like to be able to do?
I love that. Thanks for sharing that, brother, by the way. What's one question that I have, because right now, without getting political or anything like that, so that nobody removes our video from YouTube, we're gonna keep things clean here. Where do you see like moving forward, right? So we have all these things that have happened moving forward in the future, 2, 3, 4, or 5 years in the future. Where do you see the role of chiropractors or chiropractic? Where do you fit in? What's the opportunity? And obviously, you don't have a crystal ball, but in your opinion, right, when you think about the future, where do you see the future for the industry?
Well, I could give you the pat answer that I always hear chiropractors say is there's never been a better time to be a chiropractor, right? And I've been in practice 30 years, and I've heard that every year for 30 years. So, obviously there had to be some bad years, but I always hear there's never been a better time to be a chiropractor. And I really think it depends on the individual and again, where we fit into our group dynamics, so who are our leaders? Where are they leading our profession? Who is leading our state organizations, our national organization? What are their agendas? So I do think that chiropractors need to get involved. And I think I think at the end of the day, Roberto, people are always going to search out people that help them get healthy. They are. I've seen this for 3 generations. Back when my grandfather practiced and chiropractors were maligned, he had a huge busy practice. And you didn't go to the chiropractor because a lot of chiropractors, the people said, listen, you shouldn't go to the chiropractor. He's a quack. I saw this growing up, but people still came, even though there was some pressure not to go, right? And my dad and my grandfather, mom, they had busy practices. So again, I think, people are always going to search out results. They're always going to search out people that are able to help them. So again, I think the bottom line is that, the future depends on the chiropractor. It really depends on the individual chiropractor and how they're practicing and if they're getting results with their patients.
I love that. So talking about that, our viewership here is chiropractors for this podcast. So first, talk a little bit about how you help other doctors, specifically where's the best place to reach out to you to learn more about what you do. So let's talk about how you help chiros. Yeah. Let's talk about the best place to connect with you.
I always say, Roberto, chiropractic, I will never be able to repay chiropractic for what it's given me in my life. I will never, ever come close to giving back to chiropractic what it's given to me. But if there's a chiropractor out there that's struggling, just like for my patients in my practice, I'm going to do my best to help them. And because there's no need to struggle. There's absolutely no need to struggle. If you're willing to do the work, and roll up your sleeves, there's no need to struggle. And if you're struggling, you have to ask yourself why. And it's because you're not doing the things that you need to do to be able to thrive in practice that we just talked about, right? So chiropractors can always reach out to me. It's super simple. Our website is 8ww.com. That's a great place to reach out to me. My email is super simple. It's my name, Dr. Dane Donohue, no period, all one word, @gmail.com. So my email is super simple, Roberto. So I really think I'm on Facebook. If people want to find me, they can find me.
Awesome. Brother, I love you, man. I'm so honored to be first your friend, to learn from you, to be inspired by you. Dr. Dane and I have something super special coming up. We're going to announce next week to help chiros. But anyway, brother, thanks so much for making the time today. I know we have a busy practice.
Yeah.
And so I appreciate, brother. I love you. Thanks so much for sharing with us today. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. And I would just say, Roberto, you and I have been working on a project for 5 months that it's been an absolute delight. It's been a lot of hard work, but I am so proud. I've been a lot of programs. I'm so proud of what you and I have created for the profession. Super simple, super effective, great way to get new patients. And it's just, I think it's one of those strategies that people now need more than ever. And it's going to get you in the door to become that wellness expert in your community.
Awesome. I'm super excited too. We're gonna have some huge announcements coming up very, very, very soon. So stay tuned to that. Dr. Dane, thanks so much, brother. God bless you. Have a beautiful day. Thank you. Thanks
you,
everybody
Roberto.
for watching us.